Collectible card games such as the X-Files CCG have a compelling history, and I'll be showing you a conversation with one industry insider who will reveal the details of how such games come into existence. And I'll be announcing another giveaway wherein one lucky subscriber will win a rare GenCon 96 demo card. Welcome everyone to the Alien Investigations channel. I'm Steven, and you're watching The Magic Bullet. The history of modern customizable trading card games is relatively short, albeit fascinating. This unique form of entertainment emerged in the early to mid 1990s, and a lot of the key players and industry insiders involved at the time are still around today. As most fans of the genre know, Magic the Gathering, which was released in 1993, is widely considered the first contemporary trading card game, and it pioneered key features such as booster packs, card rarities, various card types, and a mana system. The game's success laid the foundation for all subsequent collectible and trading card games. There are many card games that attempted to break through in the wake of Magic the Gathering, and the majority proved either short lived or unsuccessful, including the X-Files CCG and its spiritual successor, the Scooby-Doo Expandable card game. How these two games came to be and what was going on behind the scenes in the card game industry is the focus of this video. And who better to tell us than Mr. David 𝐗, a pillar in the card gaming community who most notably served as alpha playtester for the X-Files collectible card game back in 1996, and his name is amongst those listed in the back of the game's Advanced Rules and Procedures manual. But you can also find David 𝐗's name attached to other games produced in the wake of the X-Files CCG's untimely demise, for he went on to work at Journeyman Press, a division of USPC Games within the United States Playing Card Company, where he playtested and helped develop such spirited games as the Scooby-Doo ECG, WCW Full Impact, the 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 ECG, and a personal favorite, Zombies, with a triple exclamation point, before it went on to be a veritable powerhouse production of Twilight creations. Two correspondents of the Magic Bullet and the Alien Investigations channel at large, John Wood and 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬, sat down for a discussion with Mr. 𝐗, and thankfully the cameras were rolling.
So we get to have a sequel to an interview that we could not air for multiple reasons, and
legal
the
reasons,
least of which is that
legal.
There you go. That we get to have Dave 𝐗 talking about not just the Scooby-Doo ECG, which is one of my personal favorites, and I think Jonathan's as well. We can talk some X-Files and also just the state of Journeyman Press towards the latter stages of USPC games. And many of the awesome games that they have that actually were able to come out before that fall, like Full Impact, like Peasantry, like eBay the Game, and many other ones, all within 1 year's time. Most popular, probably 𝐗-𝐅i𝐿 and Scooby-Doo, as far as Journeyman Press goes, or which ones would you say?
Well, I mean, technically Zombies came out, Todd and Carey, as a Journeyman Press game. So if you do find a copy of Zombies, you can look at the different tiles, all the different businesses that are in the town. That will be the different employees, different members of Journeyman Press. And of course, that went on to win awards and is still available today at fine retailers. So that probably is the crown jewel because it lived beyond, which I'm very thankful for. And then, of course, from an achievement standpoint, and of course, we talk about how we got here, which was X-Files, and we pay homage to that, with Scooby-Doo, and that is a unique story that we can get into again if you'd like. But again, Age of Empires, just how we ended up with all the titles, including eBay, Peasantry, how that came into existence, put together by Brian, wonderful artists back in the day, people like Jonathan Queen. If you Google that, pretty famous. He paints murals on buildings around Cincinnati. So, I mean, definitely, I kind of joked, I can't afford his art anymore. So I'm glad I got it when I could. But all these games had stories, and you're right, they happened over a short period of time. The United States Playing Card Company prints playing cards are, as we discovered, or at least in my tenure there, kind of incredible, kind of how I got involved. We told those stories. Dave Frank, my involvement early on as a play tester, and really, hopefully, I was going to get a job at Next Games working on sports related, again, NFL, Red Zone, top of the order type products. But I was passed, right? They found somebody else other than me, but Dave Frank was kind enough to recruit me to come on board at USPC Games to continue to support the X-Files. And as it turned out, United States Playing Card Company had acquired all of the license rights from Donruss / Leaf. But I discovered that really what the United States Playing Card Company was doing at the time was putting ink on small pieces of paper. That's how he described it. We put ink on small pieces of paper, almost like printing money. And you got to remember, this is the infancy, really, of everything. I mean, Magic finally is taken off. These would be stories for a different time, but technically, the United States Playing Card Company had the opportunity to print Magic cards briefly. Street lingo is 4th edition. They really were unlimited. But unfortunately, due to printing issues and really just money issues, it resulted in the United States Playing Card Company and WotC kind of banging heads. And I believe that plays into motivating the then ownership group to not only go after the X-Files, but to enter into the collectible card game market, which I should also point out at the time, no one had successfully even gotten close to dethroning, let's say, Magic. Even though if you go back in the day, right, you'll remember like Star Wars and Star Trek. And part of the story with all collectible card games, and thus promo cards and ultra rare cards and rare cards and everything that would follow, was what we would call a secondary market. And the secondary market was not made up predominantly of game shops. It was made up of all things sporting goods, baseball, card shops, right? And to a degree, comic book shops. And they were all about collectibles and resale. So they definitely figured out real quick, especially when Scry and Inquest came out. And so to give credit where credit's due, when you own the press and you can print the paper and that paper has value, you can easily print collectibles or limited runs. And we use those promo cards and X-Files infamously now, right? Put them in poly bags, in Inquest and Scry to gain advertisement successfully, along with other companies. We weren't the only one to polybag cards in those magazines, but again, those were the pricing Bibles. And that secondary market definitely kind of drove the sales in all of these games. Not only did you have promos in the magazines, we discovered quite quickly, out of necessity, we could take promotional cards with us to events or to store demos. And of course, people would have to come and get those from us. And that would generate buzz and excitement. And then finally, we discovered that we could put a card on top, let's say, of a display box, kind of a topper, right? And of course, we were, at USPC Games, everybody knows about X-Files and the first edition collation issues. So we had to win back some of that loyalty and trust. And to do that, we had to give away some cards. And that created the beast. Okay. And so we'll carry that over into Scooby-Doo. Scooby-Doo, really, to be completely honest, is an accident. I know we've talked about in the past with the closure of the actual X-Files collectible card game. The United States Playing Card Company was now in ownership, we will say, of the game itself, the game mechanics. But it just didn't have a license anymore. No more Mulder and Scully. And we were challenged, or I was challenged at the time, and had, of course, a couple of my friends, one being Brian. And this is all before Journeyman Press, with what can you do with this game? And to be honest, at that time, all we could come up with was maybe Sherlock Holmes. And so as we're now involved in trying to develop product, and I will say not specifically for comic book or adventure games, hobby games, but our largest customers are like Walmart. And so, Toys R Us. And all of these products that we're going to be working on are going to direct us, towards these outlets. And that was always the dream. Even for Magic, you always wanted to go to the mass because that had the greatest potential. And so to tell the story of Scooby-Doo, we actually have to tell the story of another product, another license, and that's Harry Potter. And it just so happened when Harry Potter finally hit and products were going to be licensed, it became evident that the collectible card game, for lack of a better term, was going to be up for grabs. And we at the United States Playing Card Company, we threw our hat into the ring. And I have to admit, the art department did an incredible job mocking up Harry Potter. They had a little mini steamer trunk and a little stuffed owl, and literally did the whole thing. We were very fortunate back then, being active at the time in the industry. Having been to Essen, which is Spieltag, became acquaintances with 𝐗-𝐅i𝐥e𝐬 from Cheap Ass Games. If you're in the gaming, good stuff, cool stuff, kind of famous. And he offered to help develop a Harry Potter, right? There's no NDAs anymore. And for most of the guys that are designing games, I've done a few, you were kind of, mercenaries, we're freelancing. Thinking of Warner Brothers, the Looney Tunes collectible card game came up for grabs. The Hercules and Xena licenses came up for grabs. And in that window, we were attempting to position ourselves, especially with, again, companies that we have a relationship with. But simplified, with Harry Potter specifically, the buy-in was $1 million guarantee. So in essence, whoever is going to get the license is going to write a check for $1 million. And that was too rich for our blood. But we still went and we still pitched, and everybody was still wonderful. And they really liked our presentation, and they were very, very nice in the fact that they said, you've got the best ideas, you've got the best presentation. We'll give you the license. You just, got to write the check, of which we were instructed, you will not sign the $1 million check. So in essence, we had to pass. And of course, Wizards of the Coast indeed got and launched the Harry Potter trading card or collectible card or expanded card or what. We were all looking for new acronyms. Even they were looking for new acronyms, and they had the license. And when I say that, I mean they were trying to patent the mechanics to collectible card games. But what's interesting is while we were waiting in the lobby to go into this pitch for Harry Potter, they, in the waiting room, kind of had the glass cases where they were promoting in the licensing department the upcoming releases. And Scooby-Doo was actually releasing direct-to-video. And they were also starting to sniff out the live-action movies. So they internally had kind of the Scooby stuff on prototype, but they were thinking, and it was visible. And at the end of the Harry Potter discussion, when it was determined we're not signing a check, out of cordialness, is there anything else you'd like to discuss? And that's when I said, well, you know what? I noticed you guys are developing Scooby-Doo for direct video release. Have you thought about some synergy? And again, just literally making it up on the fly. We have a little familiarity with mysteries, because of the X-Files. And it never dawned on us, right? But again, as lightning struck, we did not have to sign $1 million license. It definitely was more manageable in the $20K department to take a shot at Scooby-Doo. And of course, we were very excited as we brought that home and of course went to work on that. And of course, as that was occurring, Journeyman Press was being developed. So to be honest, we were kind of cutting edge. We were making stuff up with X-Files, and we continued to extend that into Scooby-Doo and the other products that we were doing at Journeyman Press. Things that we do today in the industry, we were inventing literally in real time. Now, it's probably famous, again, the DC comic book. There was always intended to be a 2-player set. We actually entered into an exclusive distribution. Initial distribution would drop at what was called the Warner Brothers stores. So for the older audience, right, when we first went to the shopping mall, we had all the stores. The Disney's still around, but everybody had their own store. The focus was really on the Walmart, which had bought into the product, but unfortunately, Warner Brothers store closed. It sent ripples throughout the industry. And again, we had some internal things happening at United States Playing Card Company, stories that have really never even been discussed outside the walls, which don't even exist. They tore the place down in Cincinnati and Norwood. But again, no scry, no inquest, no hobby stores, no conventions, no box toppers, no inserts. And again, never got that opportunity. So the product which did get into distribution would eventually be liquidated. Things turned pretty fast. And again, part of that has to do with what happened at Journeyman Press and the large picture of what happened in the United States Playing Card Company.
And that's all the time we have for today, but there's lots more of that fascinating discussion to come. I want to thank Mr. David May for regaling us with that inside look into the collectible card game industry, and it's an honor and a privilege to have his sagely words gracing this channel. And if you agree, let me know in the comments. Which talking point did you find most interesting? What burning questions do you have for Mr. May that you'd like to see him address in a future video? Drop a comment below. And before I let you guys go, let's get into the giveaway. This week I'm giving away another very rare GenCon 96 demo card, more specifically the multi-site Los Angeles, California. There are not a lot of these cards out there, folks. Even I'm not fortunate enough to have one in my own collection. These cards are not only very pricey, but they're very hard to come by. So if you want a chance to win, make sure you investigate that subscribe button, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. It's as simple as that. The winner of the Los Angeles Gen Con card will be determined by random drawing, but you gotta be a subscriber, people. The winner will be announced in a future video, so if you want to stay on top of it as well as everything else that's going on with the channel, be sure to ding that notification bell. And that's our show for today. As always, if you need ideas for constructing an effective X-Files CCG Bureau deck, I've got sample deck videos here on the channel that should prove inspiring. And finally, you can reach out to me at alieninvestigations19@gmail.com for business inquiries, or if you have ideas for upcoming content that you'd like to see. Thank you for tuning in. Once again, I'm Steven, and you've been watching The Magic Bullet.